There. Can you hear me now, Hope? Do you think I'm just a little bit obsessed with this dollhouse stuff? I tell you. I've even already ordered another one. So I'm very, very excited. And I'll sit it right here so you can see it. Oh, it's just so little. It's delicate, but I love it. All right, everybody. Oops, let me do one thing real quickly. Celebrating Pride Month in our house, so I want to make sure that that can be seen. That's an important thing. It's been a busy couple of days. Is Malcolm here? Hi, sweetheart. And I had two granddaughters have graduated in the last couple weeks. And so Friday night we went to the granddaughter here's graduation. That was a lot of fun. And my daughter came down and we visited, and I've got pictures to show you. I haven't downloaded them yet. Yesterday, it was funny. So we had done the graduation, and Katie had been here for a visit. And, oh, thanks. It's bothering me. I got it cut, and they cut it a little too short. But let me show you. I have to get it out of the trash can. I used this stuff. It makes my hair sticky. And so I was looking saying, oh, my hair's a mess. But anyway, I threw this in the trash because that's the second time it's made my hair sticky. So done. The kind of support that I like to use comes in a reddish pink can, and it's like a foam. That stuff is super. But this gel stuff, it's got some kind of, hold on. I was trying to read to see why did it do this? It says it's naturally derived from, see, we talk about everything on this show, but guar gum, no, acacia gum. Well, that should have been a warning because gum is sticky. So that's done. I'm done with it. But I took my hair out of my rollers and it was like, and then, well, how do I brush it? The brush is sticking to it. So who knows, But I did get my hair cut this week, and she does a really good job. I just wish she hadn't cut it quite so short. I said, oh, no, it's old lady short. And, yeah, I am an old lady, but I'm trying to pretend I'm not quite, I'm just on the end of middle-aged. Nope. But anyway, but the good news is I've ordered another one of these houses, and it's very similar style, except it's Christmas decorations. And I can't wait. So I told Mark, he's like, uh-oh, here we go. And it's like, yeah, got to order it. So anyway, I'll sit this over here. So today I've got pictures of Hypertufa. I would bring them in, but I just unmolded them and they're still curing. And which means if I touch them, I'll get concrete on myself. So I've got Hypertufa to talk about. I want to remind you again about the textile talks. I saw, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the man's name this past week. Was it Peter? And his last name is kind of hard for me to remember if someone thinks about it. Oh, thank you. Hi, Ms. Marcia, sweetheart. Oh, but is it growing back, and how similar is it to the hair you had before? And we can't see when that hair gets out there. We are going to celebrate and see a picture of our Miss Jody. And I was noticing Jamie Raskin, our congressman, was my congressman from Maryland, and he's still wearing his so cool headscarf that he got from, I forgot the guy's name, in the East Street Band, and but he's doing real well, just like our Jody. So that is wonderful. Yes, Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because Mark was going to go for a motorcycle ride. He said, I went out and checked the weather, and there's a strong line of thunderstorms getting ready to hit. So, good point. Thank you, Miss Polly. It's growing curly. Oh, I can't wait. I think you are going to be the sweetest thing with your new curly hair. Oh, I love it. Oh, and I wanted to tell Jody, Mark and I were going through something online. We love researching things. The man who played the creature from the Deep Lagoon passed recently, 93 or something. I don't know. He had lived a nice long life. And I thought, I've got to tell Jody for that. We'll see it in the Oh, that'll be wonderful. We'll get to see your curly hair. That's great. And don't forget, thank you for mentioning next month's Zoom. Second week of July, we're going to do a week of classes on Bargello quilts. And I'm working on a pattern for it and trying to get ideas of fabric and stuff like that. So put that on your calendar. It will be free. And I will, in fact, you know what? Probably in the next week, I'll start putting out information on what kind of fabric, how much fabric. So you'll have a month to prepare for it. And so don't worry, I'll guide you through every step. Cheryl is here. In fact, I better see who else is here. All right, let's see. It's so good to see. I saw Sonia. Hi, sweetheart. I love that, Sonia. So Marcia has a new tablet. I love it, Marcia. Fantastic. And Jody, Sonia says she's getting the last border on her Edita quilt. Oh, I can't wait to see photos of that. So, and then Jody has started a red, white, and blue courthouse steps quilt. Oh, that sounds lovely, hon. And wait till you see Miss Polly's weaving and some amazing English paper piece block. I mean, amazing. And so let's see. That is wonderful. Oh, that's cute, Jody. Give her a little. I tell you what, she was real fast with that, what I call a postage stamp quilt that she did from neutrals. In fact, I worked on my Alex Anderson neutral quilt at camp. I want to finish some of these because they're really lovely, and I want to be able to have them out and have everybody see them. So Meltem, how are things with you? How is the weather? In fact, I'm hoping to hear from some of our people from Canada who have had the terrible wildfires. I mean, that's really rough, and I'm so sorry about that. Alberta's here. Hello, sweetheart. Y'all are just so sweet. Love seeing you. Mary is here. She's here. So, okay. But thank you for giving me Thursday night off. My daughter drove like 8 hours, and I just thought I didn't want to drag her onto the camera. And then I thought I just want to be able to, well, we also brought home Chinese, and it is the best Chinese restaurant. If you're ever in Winston-Salem, it's Mr. Lu's, L-U. It's the freshest, best food. So we ordered a gluttonous supply of Chinese food to treat our Katie. Living in a more rural eastern shore of North Carolina, she's not near Chinese takeout. So, okay. So I brought down my house again. I have some things that I bought online. And then I'm going to move this mouse right now. I just realized it's the mouse that sometimes makes my chat go away. So carefully moving that. I did 2 new blocks this week. One, the 15th. Let me see. Let me pull these up. Here is our 14th block of the week from the nod to the 19th century. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. I love it because it looks like a wreath with bows on it. It's just so sweet. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Miss Mary. And then this one, block number 15, I put it on the site in the wee hours, I think. This is block 15. And just for fun, I think I heard Melanie say she wanted 18 for her quilt. So I'm going to try to go ahead and make it to 18. And I'm finding I love writing patterns. And now there's a caveat with this. I'm just now making these blocks, so I haven't tested them. There may be a little mistake in there, but so just check. But luckily, it's not a whole quilt, it's just one block. So if there's a mistake, we can fix it. All righty. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Hypertufa. I've been working on cleaning the room again. And what I'm doing when you're quilting your blocks one by one. What a great idea. For some of you who don't have a long arm quilter or who aren't comfortable quilting on your domestic machine, doing it a block quilting as you go is a brilliant idea. So, and we will get to see Miss Mary I've got two ladies I'm going to mention. I'm going to call out two ladies of this group lately. I'm going to call out three. I'm going to tell you that if you ever want something pieced and made exquisitely, go to Sonia Johnson. She is amazing. Then the other thing, Miss Mary, when she jumps in to a project, she's a force of nature. And the stuff that she does, I think she was kind of new when she first joined us. She just amazes me every time she works on something. Then the third person I'm going to call out is Miss Polly. Polly, wait till you see her weaving. Polly's a new quilter. Wait till you see her English paper piecing. I keep thinking, I want to sew with Polly and teach her some things. Oh no, she is moving on to intermediate level like you wouldn't believe. So y'all are amazing. So I just thought I would say that. And our Marcia is the sweetest, most kindest thing you could ever meet. So we've got some amazing members, and I'll have to call out some more next week. But these are just people who I look at their pictures they send me or the things they're doing, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I love it. Sometimes I think of myself as a teacher, but I'm always thrilled when the students just sail right on beyond me. I think that is no better feeling. Okay, we're going to start a flower art quilt because I want more practice on what Miss Jody does in her sleep, which is taking a picture, posterizing it, turning it into an amazing pattern. Oops. Oh yeah, this was here just to remind me to tell you, second week of July. Now, I went looking for some really pretty pictures of flowers. I looked through my own stash. I couldn't really find one of my own that just hit me, so I went on the royalty free, and I found this amazing dahlia. So I just did posterize and then went, oh my God, I can't handle all those lines. What are we gonna do? So then I tried doing it in black and white, but that's still a lot of little lines and spaces. And when I see this, the way my brain works, I kind of shut down. Like, I don't see it. It's too much. Oh my goodness. So I tried doing a couple little things to it to make it a little simpler. And I finally hit upon a Deb style that I think I can manage. So look at this. I think I can do this, okay? But you see, check the difference out between these two. So, my. But anyway, Mark looked at it and went, oh my gosh, are you really going to do that? I was like, I don't think so. So anyway, but I'm going to show you how to start that pattern. I've been pulling fabric for it. I think it's going to be fun. And this is going to be the actual size of it. So maybe I'll put it on a pillow or something, or just make a small, pretty wall hanging. But I'm not in the mood right now to go big. So, all right. Now, so was it last week? I finished, I don't know what blocks. Yeah. I finished this one. I don't know if I showed you. No, I think I finished it this week. But whoops, it goes this way. Yeah, it goes this way for my fussy cut center. But I am loving these blocks. Okay, don't trace every line. Jody keeps telling me, you can do it. And I got to tell you this. It was so funny. My daughter came in and she saw, remember when we did we did one of these style portraits of our pet, our favorite animal. And I've set it over there and I haven't touched it again because I'm overwhelmed by it. My daughter came in and said, oh, that's a great picture of Grommet. I thought, oh, okay, I guess I can do this. So I got excited. So you're getting mean with your quilt. It's so heavy. Oh, yes. I made a hi, Kathy Klein, and Carol is here. Yay. It's so good to see you. So, but I was going to remember I had these little sponge pieces and I said, bring them next week because we're going to make something with them. Somehow this week, in trying to do some quickie straightening up before my daughter came into town, because I didn't really want her to see how horrible this really was, somehow I've misplaced the other one. So I'm going to ask your forgiveness and put this off till next week, because if I can't find the other one, I'm going to have to cull some more foam. So I'm sorry, guys. I looked today going, oh no, what have I done with it? Hopefully I didn't vacuum it up. You just don't know. All right. So we will do that next week. 2 pieces of foam and some fabric. And what are we going to be making? All right. Now, and for those of you who just came in, I've already ordered another kit. It makes me feel like a child again because it is just so cute and making all these miniature things. My daughter said to me, doesn't it make you crazy? Because some of the things are so hard to do and we've got big hands. And I said, yeah, but it's so magical. And then looking at it and saying, I actually made that. So my next one is going to be a living room scene with the little dog is going to be playing the piano and there's going to be a Christmas tree out here. And so that should be coming in soon. And I was real tickled because it was another $21 kit. And then I've already gone, my grandson's turning 16 and he loved the Harry Potter series. And I have found one that is a magic shop and it has the flavor of the Harry Potter. And so he's getting that for his birthday. And I asked his mom because I thought, oh, he's going to be 16. She goes, no, that's great. Get him off video games making something. And I remember my son absolutely loved Star Wars, and he kept all of his Star Wars Lego kits for years and years. So I think he'll enjoy it. But anyway, this was so much fun and just look and make sure what the little kit has. Look at the room carefully and make sure that it has good things. Speaking, yes. Oh, I thought you would, Mary. I thought you would. When you have to order fabrics online, it's hard to pick out different shades of a particular color. Yes, it can be. And in fact, Mary and I wanted to remind you, especially if you're on a budget, Marshall Dry Goods, MDG, has fabric for $4.99 to $6.99. And I haven't gotten an order in. I can't tell you exactly, but they also handle different brands, and it's just cheaper. It is just cheaper. Oh, that is so cool. I'm thinking of maybe doing boutiques from there for my Bargello quilt. So, but we just wanted to give a shout out. When we find a place that has a good deal or something good, we just like giving them a little shout out. But I know quilt making is very expensive. So, the thing is to keep us quilting. It's also Jenny Doan's birthday, and they're having big sales this weekend. I haven't looked at the details. It was so funny. Yesterday, I thought, after the graduation, Katie is now at my other daughter's house, and they're enjoying themselves. So I thought, Saturday and Sunday, I'll have a chance to get ready for the show. Yesterday, Mark and I, sitting on the couch, and me even more so than him, slept. I mean, could not keep our eyes open. And, that's when you realize your age, because I had tried to clean the house before Katie got here. He had tried doing some yard work before Katie got here. And then doing the Hypertufa. That was a really busy day out in the sun. And then going to the graduation, and we were so tired. Oh my gosh, Jody, $3 a yard. Oh, Polly. I got to make sure I go back and read this. She's talking about from Fat Quarter Shop. They're called Spectrum bundles. Ooh. And, but I was thinking, and for the Bargello, I was thinking of getting some ombre fabrics, because you can get so many different shades from them instead of having to buy so much fabric. But anyway, now where was I going? What was I talking about? I forgot. Hopefully it'll come back to me. But speaking of Harry Potter, I was noticing what Mary was saying. It's so much easier for me to see the dialogue now that I've got the new laptop stand. But Mark and I watched the first movie of Harry Potter. He had never watched it. And I said, the first movie is my favorite because it's the whole magic of the scenery, all of that. I didn't like all the battles later on, but I loved the staircases moving. I loved the wand shop where he went to get his first wand. I loved all of that. Oh, if you buy them by the bolt, that's wonderful. So I'm sorry about that quilt shop going out of business. That worries me, because I don't know about y'all, but Mark and I are still ordering most things online. The only store we go to is the feed store for the chickens and grocery store. The rest, we love being able to order online. And I realize, I'm sorry, that's kind of hard on mom and pop shops. And so we'll just do our best. But okay. So I forgot, but the Harry Potter scenery, maybe that's what I was talking about. I just loved all the scenery and love Hagrid and Richard Harris as his character. Maggie Smith. Oh my gosh. Oh, and dear Snape, who was played by, y'all know who Snape was played by. Oh, miss him. He was so cool in that movie. So anyway, okay. So now I guess the first thing is, Well, I'm going to actually do some sewing on the knot blocks because each of the blocks has a tricky little part that you might not be comfortable with. And so I'm just going to go over those parts with you. But why don't I show you what I bought this week? Now, my grandson is coming. Both my grandsons are coming up the end of June. So I've been thinking about that. But the first thing I got, remember I was telling you about Issachar thread? If you have a long arm and you have a problem with breaking thread, I will recommend let's turn it so you can read it. Issachar thread. And this was recommended to me by Leah Day. And I bought this whole spool. And let me see how many meters this spool is. This spool, 5,000 meters. This was $12. Not a bad deal. And it's relatively thin. So if you like a thick thread for quilting, then you might not want this. But I love this. So this is the one I got to quilt my nod to the 19th century. Okay. So, and I told y'all every month or so, I'm going to be buying 1 or 2 spools to kind of build up. I now love doing my thread painting on my long arm. So much easier. But I still need a good thread that won't break every 5 minutes. Then I think I told y'all that I had ordered some puffy paints, and it's 10 puffy paints for $8 and something. And I'm going to use these to make my, when I take and make white paper beads, I'm going to use this to do a buildup of paint, like a design, to look like the glass beads, the cane work glass beads that you see. I'm going to see if it works. But also, my grandsons are going to love decorating their own t-shirt with these puffy paints. So it's a good thing to have. And this is fabric paint, fabric puffy paint. Okay. Then I ordered the transfer paper so that I'm going to take a picture with each of my grandsons and then print it on transfer paper and then iron it to a t-shirt. And so I got them their little t-shirts, got them each their little t-shirts, and we're going to iron the transfer picture of me and them on their t-shirt and then let them decorate around the picture with the puffy paint. Then, now where did this come from? But that's awfully cute. I like that. Got them another book to read. Then I got Russell. He is 4. I got him some flashcards for words. And for Donnie, who is 2, I got him flashcards for letters. So I think we'll have plenty of things to play with. I've already got some beads for them to string up. I think I have some birdhouses for them to paint so they can take them home. Then I also got some puff paint gold metallic because I'm going to try and see what it looks like if I dip the ends of my paper beads into this. So just some little things. You know, it's summertime now, and I love, love, love doing fun, silly, easy projects for summer. And I feel like the Hypertufa was a great project. So let me show you a little bit. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to tell you about Hypertufa. Now, some of you probably, who knows, all of you might already know what Hypertufa is. Hypertufa is where you mix equal parts of perlite, which is a white expanded, it comes from volcanic rock, white expanded stuff, and it just makes potting mix lighter weight and takes up volume with no weight. Then we put peat moss, and then we did a cement, like a Portland cement, but you get it has some sand in it, okay? And so let me bring this picture up. These are some that Katie took with her over to her sister's, but I will show you this pot right here. This is more like a dish, and she made it from she took a leaf off of our Paulownia tree and used that as the form, and I think that is really cool. Then this one, she formed it inside a bowl. This one inside a tub, and I made this little one so Becky could have one so she didn't feel like she was left out, and I formed it in that bowl. So when you mix equal parts of the Portland cement with sand, or some kind of cement with sand, and peat moss and perlite. Now, perlite, we didn't actually add the same volume because it looked like it was going to be a little too much. But you mix them all with water until you get a consistency of cottage cheese. And then it is ready. And some of my containers, I would have liked to have gotten a bag of like fiberglass fibers to put in the cement to make it stronger, because I don't want to have to bring these in every winter. But I said, I know what I can do. So I got some of my tulle, and I have a whole bolt of this. I got some of my tulle and used this in between the layers of Hypertufa to make sure that it gave it some support. It just acted as support. Now, you might say, well, why are you making Hypertufa? Hypertufa has been around a long time. I gave a workshop to my garden club 25 years ago. Hypertufa looks like old stone containers that farmers used to carve out of rock for their horses feeding and trough or water trough. And it's just kind of cool. And Katie and I both love gardening as much as quilting, just about. And so we made those. Now, let me go back and show you. Katie sent a picture. Where is it? She has okay, here we go. Let me bring this up. She took the Paulownia leaf and laid it inside the bowl. That's a Paulownia leaf. And how you get that size Paulownia leaf, because some people consider Paulownia leaf a weed. It's a Japanese tree that they treasure for the wood. But around here, it grows like a weed on the side of the highway. And then, oh, that's a great idea, Mary. Thank you. And so she put that inside the bowl. First, you put plastic, then the Paulownia leaf, then the concrete meshed in it. And she meshed it to the underside of the leaf where it's got a lot more texture. And it worked beautifully. So here is another picture of it, of that leaf. So that was a huge leaf. That leaf was probably this big. And how you get big leaves on Paulownias is we let it grow. It's a very fast growing plant with a hole down the center of the stem. We let the tree grow up. Then every fall, Mark cuts it down to the ground. Then the next year, it puts out new shoots with huge leaves. And that's what we love, is seeing that plant in the garden with these huge leaves. So I'll have to take a picture of the tree for you at some point and show you, but it's just lovely. So, but that's what Hypertufa is. You have to make sure that you wrap it in plastic to cure, or you go out and mist it several times over a day or two to make sure that the concrete cures the strongest way. You can use just about anything to form it. I our cement mix was kind of a fast dry, and I took a pot and tried to cover the outside with it, and it kept sliding down the pot, kind of cracking loose. Finally, I just flipped it over, and let me see if I can show you. I made a stepping stone with marks in my name or initials on it and a heart. I'm so silly. So let me go to pictures. Let me go to, okay. Here are my Hypertufa. So one's a shallow bowl, one's more of a deeper, little deeper pot, a traditional. And here's inside the shallow bowl. It's got seashells and little glass marbles. Then here is the planter. And what I need to do is get a wire brush, but I put little blue glass beads along the edge, just very top edge. But there's that bowl again. And I think that, so these are the ones I have. Oh, here is Mark and my stepping stone with our initials. Wait a minute, it goes this way. Supposed to be D plus M and a heart. Silly me. And then, yeah. And here is another one of that shallow bowl. So, but I'll get a metal, oh, here. Want that shallow bowl I molded on a paulownia leaf. So isn't that cool looking? Whoops. I'm trying to hold my arm up here. But that is the leaf. So, all right, rhubarb leaf. Yes, any kind of leaf with heavy veining would work wonderfully. I know with that shallow bowl, I put it on the bottom. It's like, I kind of almost wish I could show just that side. But so Hypertufa is another fun thing. It's relatively inexpensive. Now, if you have to buy a whole new bag of peat moss, that's expensive now since it's frowned upon to use a lot of that. What ends up happening, the peat moss degrades, will just break down over time, leaving like little holes and fissures in the Hypertufa pot, which just creates that look of like a volcanic stone vessel. So I'll, keep you kind of posted as we go along with that. So far as the room cleaning, that's, I think, what I was talking about. I'm going drawer to drawer. I am throwing stuff out. I am organizing because, honest to goodness, people, you get so busy doing so much. Look at this drawer. Hold on. You get so busy that you don't take the time to straighten. Look at this. This is awful. I can barely get the drawer open or closed. And so I'm going to go through and reorganize every drawer. And I've already started it. It's going to take a while. But I thought, normally when I clean surfaces. Well, I've got too much junk that just builds up. And cleaning surfaces doesn't get you very far. And I love what I do. I feel so blessed to be healthy after the past few years. I want to make the best use of my time because life is such a gift and we're so lucky for every day. So I decided it's time to do something. Oh, just coming up Thursday, we have a show, and we're going to start our triptych. I'm hoping to hear from Nazrin, and she can give me some advice. So far, I'd love ideas on what to do with the triptych. And triptych is a piece of art in 3 sections, and you can make a continuous like landscape. You can do different seasons, whatever it is. And the best suggestion I have so far is earth, wind, and fire. And I thought that's pretty cool. But anyway, please feel free to send me your suggestion to OurTimeToQuilt@twc.com, and we will take a vote on, okay, what is going to be our subject of this triptych. And I think that'll be kind of fun. I've never done this. I saw Nazarene, I did the first one that I had seen. And then at the quilt show, oh, thank you, Carol. At the quilt show in South Carolina, they had a whole exhibit of triptychs. And let's say you don't want to do 3 pieces, you can do a ditych, which is 2. But I think that would be a lot of fun. All right. And I'm hoping to have some time this week to work on the beach landscape and get that out to you. I just had an email from someone who found our site and said, can I have the beach landscape pattern? And I'm hoping I'm not too late to do it. And it's like, no, that's great. That's great. Marcia's doing her summer cleaning. Yep. And you know what? There are times it's like, I just can't bear it anymore. And today was kind of a hot and muggy day, plus a little smoky from the Canadian wildfires. And we love our friends from Canada. They can't help it. They wouldn't do this to us. And can you imagine what people in Nova Scotia and stuff are going through? I can't imagine. So I'm hoping they're okay. We love them to bits. All right. So you've already seen my blocks last week. This means when I finish these 2 today, I'm going to have my 15 needed. I'm going to have the 15 that I wanted to do a quilt 3 blocks wide and 5 blocks down. But I'm going to probably do 3 more for people like Melanie, anyone who wants to make a larger quilt. These blocks are so absolutely charming. I can't wait to see the quilt they make. All right. Now, I told you about cleaning room, textile talks. Oh my. If you go to textiletalks.com, it's wonderful. And you can see the reruns from them on YouTube. I know that SAQA, the Studio Art Quilters Association, has 150 free on their site. I highly recommend it. And it is supported by about 6 different quilting groups because each show they make costs them $54,000 and they give them to us for free. I personally wanted to go in and make a small donation. They sent me a letter thanking me for my tiny donation. I was so impressed, but it just shows how much it means to them. Pete Nauer, and it starts with a K, Knauer. He was the one that did last Wednesday's show. And, he has a strong social conscience. And so much of his artistic energy goes to helping everyone stay aware of some of the social issues in our day. And what a caring man. I don't know how he does it all, but I highly recommend that you try to touch base with Textile Talks. And because, yes, the K facet's always fascinating and fun. But when he started talking about social issues, and I thought, it kind of pinged my conscience a little because I thought, Deb, you're doing all these things that are fun and happy. Maybe you might want to think of doing something that's more socially relevant. So we'll see, especially after this week. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, all right. So now let's look at our flower, this new flower quilt that I want to make. And I would be more than happy to send you this flower. I'll post it on our group's IO. And I'll be glad to send you the original flower. And during our show and tell, I'll show you the original picture. It is gorgeous. And I just thought this would be such a pretty color. And I'm thinking around the edge of it to do apple green leaves, you know, with different shades of green, but mostly being like an apple green, something really bright and happy for summer. So what I've got right now is my light board, and I love these thin little light boards. Boy, they make life easy. And this one has rubber pads on the bottom to keep it from slipping off surfaces so easily because it's so lightweight. It weighs barely anything. All right, so let's bring you over here and I'll show you what I'm going to try to do. Miss Jody, I give you and anyone else permission to please tell me if there's something that I should be doing that I'm not doing. And all right, so here we go. Come on, turn on the light. Good. And I'll put this down first. I want it this way. I want the darker blues near the bottom. And yes, we've been missing our Carol, but I know that Miss Carol's been busy moving and getting everything straight. I go past her site often just to see how she's doing. Is she able to start back up with her shows? I love her and Ann. They're so cute with their shows. All right. They do some beautiful work, and I love the way they're so friendly and chatty and just wonderful. So, and her show is Canadian Artisan. Please make sure to check her out because she's a dear, dear lady. All right. Now, so I've got my light box. I've got this down here. Now, Jody, you speak up if I'm doing something wrong. And, well, you're very special, Carol. You are so talented. I got to tell you, we have so many very talented people. And, please be thinking about our Dolores. She had an art exhibition this weekend, and she was the artist in residence, so to speak, and she's got a type of shingles. And she's already had her Shingrix shot, and she's still got a type. It's not the typical shingles. It's a type of that. Now, Jody, I guess... I know Carol's art is amazing. I love it. She can do anything. She is one of these Renaissance people, you know? Jody should know she's a Renaissance person too. So now what I'm doing is I'm looking for graduated colors. I'm looking for some of, like right along here. Here is some of the little darker area because this is the center clump of petals. So I'm just looking to draw these lines. Now, let's say you don't have an art board. Well, if you want one of these, you can get them for around $20 off of Amazon. But let's say, nope, you don't have one and you want to do this, then you can take on a sunny day, you can tape up this on a glass window, then tape this over top of it, and then stand and draw at your glass window. Oh, come on, I want it back up nice and high. Let me see. Okay, that fully up. All right. So one problem this board has, I'm left-handed. It has the touch thing on the left-hand side. So I'm always hitting it. If I were right-handed, then I would never have my hand over there. Okay. But, that's the world. We lefties only get a chance to be, to use certain things. Everything else belongs to those righties. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for the different lines. Now, whatever you can see, there are several different layers, and feel free to peek under. Like right here, I thought it had it, and here is a layer So it's like very light, medium, and darker. Then some of the then darkest comes up like this through here. Now, Miss Jody, you number your pieces, I believe. I guess you number them before you cut them out. And because I'm assuming that I draw around, you trace all of the white areas, then number them 1. Then you trace the next shade, number those 2. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Everyone, please appreciate our dear members like Carol and Marsha and Jody, who help teach us and make the show go well. Okay, so this is the light, and this is going to be 1. And okay, then the next, this would be a 2. Okay. And this would be 2. And then, oh, and boy, okay. Then, so you can see this is going to take a little time to get all of this. Will be 3. This will be 4. This will be 4. All right, so I get this now. I really do. Is our Marsha blonde? I didn't know it. And I went in to get my hair cut the other day, and I said, "What color do you call my hair?" And she said, "Blonde with a lot of gray." And I said, "Okay, good," because since I've been with Mark, I have been coloring my hair. And I would tell him, no, I was a real blonde. And then when I started to let it grow out, I thought, what if it's no longer blonde? But she said, no, you're still a blonde, just got a lot of gray. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. All right, so I can see that this is going to take a little while. Let me zoom in here just a little bit to show you in case you can't quite see it. So the lightest are number 1. So like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Even some of these, 1, 1. So sometimes it's good to go ahead and just go through, and like this little bit of white is not very big, but it's there. And it is important that you represent most of the shades because that gives the sparkle. So when you go around, you do your 1s like this. Where it gets a little more tricky, and I'll have to move the paper away, is to differentiate between the 2s, 3s, and 4s. And one thing I've noticed about doing this kind of work is having the lightest and the the darkest dark really do help give the work that sparkle, that touch of life. So it takes a little time, but once you draw all these lines, you can go sit in your comfy chair in the evening while watching TV and you can number them. So don't feel like you have to sit hunched over a light box. The light box or a window will help you. These are number 1s too. The light box in the window will help you to see where the lines are, the design is. And another thing, don't feel like you have to go around every little, like these are really fussy. No, just kind of, just like as Jody said, you can kind of simplify because you won't believe your eye will do the work for you. And as long as you get the main gist of it, you could have a really beautiful work of art. All right, and this one. So this one's going to be a nice dark one. This is probably going to be a 5 here. Okay, and this will be 4. And this will be 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. Okay, so you see how I'm doing this? Your son, what a stinker. Oh. Okay. So now in here, where you just look carefully for any kind of differentiation. Okay. But I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do the numbering in my chair with my really good lamp. This is a good time if you have an OT lamp to use it, because boy, an OT lamp will make a big difference in how you perceive the different shades. But this is kind of fun. And I'm really trying to learn from Miss Jody. She has such patience, and I'm trying to learn because she does such beautiful work. Oh my goodness. All right. So you will continue to do all of this. And then let me show you right down here. Let me show you. Whoops. And I want to zoom back out. Okay. So I just went quickly before the show and grabbed some colors, and even some of my hand dyes I grabbed. But I tried to get very light and go all the way down. Then I wanted to get some pinks to go in here, and even got some yellows for where the stamen and stuff will be. But I went from very, very dark. This is a dark blue to this is probably, well, actually, no, I have a lighter blue. Well, no, this one still reads lighter. So, and if you're concerned about how to tell the lights from the mediums, because see, I'm going to then have to take and make separate piles, a dark blue, medium, light. And if you are concerned about how you're going to really be able to tell which is which, then and I even got a really dark pink. What I would do is take a picture of the colors and then check it in black and white. But here are some of my hand dyed. And I even got some really cool things with some of this striated fabric, because like that'll be really good for leaves, and some of this will be good in the flowers. But I just went and picked as many different colors as I thought I could get it to work. And I forget who made me this amazing bookmark. I absolutely love it. It's a wonderful piece of art. I love it. All right, put that back. But anyway, so I went and gathered those. And so I hope that this kind of gives you an idea. And Jody, please, darling, you are the expert on this. So please feel free to give them any hints and tips. And oh, yeah, grease is fun, isn't it? Oh, I love it. You can start with a big piece of number 1 fabric and start cutting and start using with the number 2s. That way you don't have to cut the number 1s out. Oh, I love that. Okay, so what Jody is saying is instead of just doing a bunch of tiny little pieces of fabric, which, I am going to use the foundation under this, a piece of muslin, but she's saying cut number 1 as maybe like the whole petal size. And that way you have something then to put number 2 and number 3 and number 4 on. So does everyone get that? Thank you. And I've got to remember this, but cut the pieces out larger than you need the number 1 ones. And that way, when you put number 2 on top and number 3 on top of even number 2, all of that. Now, I think she said something before about you don't want the darker ones. How do you say that, Jody, about some have to have a little tail to go behind something? Or I wish I lived closer to Jody. She's so smart and she knows how to do all this. And I like to introduce you to these skills, but, almost like English paper piecing. Yes. So, but I think you'll agree The one we're doing is a little easier than that. And I'm sure there's a way I can get all of those little tiny speckles of stuff off because, boy, the machine really captures that. All right, let's go to show and tell, and then we'll come back and work on our block number 14 and 15. There are some pretty good hints for you, like, see this center snowball block? How do you make that? I'm going to show you when we get back from show and tell. All right, let me turn off some lights and get the computer in the right place. And, okay. I love this stand. I cannot tell you, it is one of the best things that I have bought since I bought the camera. And Mark was very good and didn't over tighten the rubber band so that I would still be able to spin the camera around. All right, now I'm going to go to the pictures. All right. Okay. I'll show you real quick. This is block number 15. I wrote this on my laptop in bed last night and wrote the instructions about 1:30 in the morning, but I got them done and hopefully it makes sense. So that's block number 15. Let me go back and see if I can find number 14. And 14 had so many different pieces that I put a little an outline drawing to show you where to put things up. It's starting to rain outside. Come on. Here's number 14. And this is really helpful. So next time I design a quilt, I'll try to put these on every one because it makes it much easier to follow in placement. But this is block number 14. All right, now, all right, close that out. And let me go here. What is this? Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go to, hold on just a second, please. All right. I don't have this new laptop set up good yet. So I'm working on it. All right. So here we go. Oh, don't let me forget to tell you about the deer story. All right. Here is our Alberta from Alabama and a beautiful granddaughter graduation quilt. And I realized my granddaughter just graduated. I didn't even think of making a quilt for her. Shame on me, I tell you. It's like the cobbler's kids are barefoot. I mean, really. So this is her granddaughter's quilt she made. And then she also made a homemade pie. And that is a beautiful homemade pie. So way to go, Miss Alberta. All right. Now, whoops. Let me go back to the photos. Didn't mean to close them all out. Let me see something. Let me see if I can do a shortcut. No, not going to work. Let me go back down here. I can do this. I know I can. I know I can. In fact, let me turn off this light. I want to get some good. Oh boy. Okay, let me go to pictures. I'll be so glad when I get all my little shortcuts put on this new laptop. Because it's nice having the new laptop that, the top opens up and my screen instantly pops on. Okay, this was done by Betty, and I love this. I still want to get a chance to talk to her, see how she did it. It is embellished with some kind of little jewels or something like that, and I love the butterfly, and I love the realism put into the branches and those leaves. I want to know how she did all of those little sawtooth marks for the leaves. That's wonderful. Way to go. Way to go, Miss Betty. Very talented quilter. All right, BB. Oh, yes, these are wonderful. I'm going to show her most recent, which is a wonderful stained glass hummingbird. And I think the stained glass is going to be coming up on our to-do list. It sounds wonderful. Okay. So now I'm going to go back. And Miss Bonnie pulled out her sewing machine. I cannot tell you how happy that I am that Miss Bonnie's eyes are doing so much better and that she's back to sewing again. We love our Bonnie. Bonnie has been a very important member of this group who right from the very beginning was supportive and encouraging and donated so many sewing items to the group. She's just a lovely lady. Well, we treasure her. All right. Now go back. And I guess I can show you mine. Let me see. No, not that far back. Hypertufa and graduation. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to go in the order. They're going to be a little out of order. And I don't see any Hypertufa pictures. Oh, well. It was supposed to have some in there. They didn't make it. This is my granddaughter, and she graduated Friday night, cum laude. And so I think right now her plans are to be an English teacher. So I think that would be just wonderful. Okay. Got to push the camera up just a little. And in fact, today she left to go to the beach with all of her best girlfriends. So I'm excited. She did her nails in 2023. I think that is so cute. Here is her graduating class. My grandson's over here in the graduation band playing saxophone. So it was nice to have both grandchildren on the field. And she is right there. That's my granddaughter. Okay. Then the rows are only empty because they were up receiving their diplomas. And I think this, I wonder, I have a video, but I don't think it's popping up under this. But anyway, here they are coming across the stage. I love that they take a picture with the principal, then they take another picture in front of the 2023 sign. I love that. Okay, here we are. I was so happy to give her a big hug after she graduated. She's a beautiful girl. All right. And there I am with my grandson, Evan, and Charlie. He's the one that was playing in the band. Another thing of her nails. Then my daughter, Katie, who came to spend time with me, then is at her sister's house, and they put together plant stands so that Becky could have some more space for all her wonderful plants. Then here is my other granddaughter, Kylie, from the Eastern Shore at her graduation. There she is. They have so many more creative graduation pictures now. My daughter sent me this a week ago, and she thought it was so beautiful. And I said, well, I hate to tell you, but the reason it looks like that is because of a wildfire. And you're up in Maryland, they were getting plenty of smoke. We've been getting pretty good smoke down here, but it did make for a beautiful picture, didn't it? And this is on the Y farm on the Eastern Shore. I don't know if that's a special Y oak or what, but it's lovely. Whoops, my finger jumped too much. This is my favorite picture of Charlie. She just looks like she's got the world by the tail. And what a wonderful, wonderful photograph. I love it. Okay. Now let me get to the next one. Then here's my daughter with her two children, Charlie and Evan. Love it. Then this is my daughter Katie from the Eastern Shore and my daughter Becky who lives near here. And they took Charlie and Evan to breakfast to celebrate the graduation. So I think that is such fun. Here's another picture of them. Then my finishing my dollhouse made my daughter pull out hers and said she wanted to work on her dollhouse. And so there's hers she's working on. This is my granddaughter Kylie's graduation. Whoops. I think that was the last picture I've got. All right. And then there was something else I was going to show you. Oh, the flower picture. Okay. So let me go back. Is it under my name, I think? Yep, here it is. Here, whoops. I didn't mean that. Okay, hold on one second. Let me close this out. Here is the original picture of that dahlia. Now that makes it look a little washed out, but I will make sure to put a picture on our website because it's really beautiful. It's all blues and pinks and yellows. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I will make sure that this is on the website so that you get a truer picture of the colors. So that's what we're working on for that. Okay, there we go. Now, let's go back and Debbie. Oh, yes, because remember last week I had to show you that not just this quilt was hers, but the cardinal quilt and this wonderful applique quilt, these curved edge quilts, another wonderful landscape. So those are all Miss Debbie's quilts. Excellent job, Debbie. Okay, now. And then she went to a craft show. I love, love, love what people feel compelled and inspired to make. I think we're so fortunate in this world to be able to have the time and resources to create art. Just beautiful. Okay. And is there, I love this beautiful overhead view. Whoops, try it again. Come on. Oh, here, oh, okay. I didn't know I could do that. That made it easy. But beautiful pottery, woodworking, quilting, jewelry making, leather work. People are so talented. And like I tell Mark, there's something for everyone. And cosplay, everything. Oh, wait till you see this new one from Dolores. This is she's not going to sell this work. Is this just gorgeous? Look at that. She used actual pieces of alpaca fur. She used filine thread. Do you know the filine I told you about that you can then take a stiff brush and you can comb it to give it a nice fuzzy appearance? Look at what Dolores did. That is absolutely gorgeous. So we hope she's feeling better and hope that she was still able to get her artwork at the show, because when you are the featured artist, you don't want to let them down. And I'm sure she's got plenty of artwork ready to sell. So that is wonderful. All right, let's see. Miss Jody. Yeah, we know that she took this class. I can't wait to find out what she does with this. It's beautiful. And then she had her wonderful neutral quilt quilted. Gosh, it looks just soft and wonderful. Looks like an afternoon nap. Yep, it does. All right, so now we'll go to Lisa. I've got some exciting pictures to show you from Miss Lisa. She goes camping. I told her, girlfriend, we have so much in common. So she recently went camping to Myrtle Beach, and look at her beautiful camper and all of her setup and lights. And oh, that looks like such fun. And then here she set up her sewing area outside in the warm, fresh air, although hopefully it wasn't too smoky. And look at her working on her blocks. That's wonderful. There she is. There's our Miss Lisa. Fantastic. I just love it. That makes me happy. I have done that at camp too. And it's just nice to be able to get away. Oh, look at this. That's a wonderful block. Boy, she has an eye for color. That is amazing. Then this is a picture of the moon that her son took because of the smoke. One day it was particularly heavy. Look at that. And then some of her other blocks. Come on. Oh, not wanting to move. Here's another block. So I think she's going to have a wonderful quilt. So thank you for sending these wonderful pictures. Oh, I'm not sure this one showed. This is a really pretty one. So thank you for sharing your camping pictures. We love seeing it. And we have to camp sometime together and do sewing. Would that be fun or what? So we will definitely, we'll put that on our list. I want to go see, oh gosh, now I've forgotten. Cheryl Lemon. I want to go see her up in Roanoke. I want to, so many things I want to do. And this is Miss Mary's. Miss Mary, did you ever figure out what tree this is? I think it's a privet, but it's just lovely. Love her flowers. I can't wait to see more pictures of her nod to the 19th century. But these flowers just make me smile. They're so happy and bright. There's one of her card trick blocks. I love her roses. My roses, I just had to trim back. They had a huge flush. And so the lucky thing about knockout roses, you trim them back and they'll flush out again. Here is her King's Coronation quilt. And I'm pretty sure this is privet. And I love those blossoms. Just beautiful. Okay. Now let's see who is next. Miss Melanie has been busy with her blocks. So let's see. And I hope I have all of them. I'm worried I might have missed one. But let's see. Her fabric is gorgeous. Her eye for color, wonderful. This is a string quilt. And I love the movement because of these fabric choices. Her crabapple and this one. I just love all of that movement for your eye to enjoy. All right. Now, Miss Melton. And don't forget, she's got an Etsy shop. And she does such beautiful work. To sell this pouch, and she's got a Dresden plate and then gorgeous quilting. She is a true artist. We love it. Wonderful, wonderful. It shows that she cares. We're hoping to get the word out for her to go visit her Etsy shop and see what she's got for sale. That's beautiful. I mean, she takes the extra time to put a little tab to make it easier to carry. And that is a true craftsperson. Very good. All right. Now, our Nancy Lynn, she's so cute. I'm hoping to hear from her before too long, see what she's doing. I love her embellishing. Wonderful. And that amazing quilt. Terrific. So thank you, Miss Nancy Lynn. And who else? I think we are ready for Miss Polly's work. Okay, I'm looking because I don't want to miss anyone. Oh, no. Before I show you Miss Polly's amazing work, I'm going to come down here and show you SJ. She sent some pictures of her wonderful cross stitch. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So delicate. I love it. Oh, look at that wonderful Christmas angel. Oh, that's beautiful. Water pump. Oh, farm scene. I love it. Oh, wow. That, you know what? Cross stitch has come so far. Back when I tried it in the 1970s, it wasn't this creative and beautiful. Wow. And then her 8-year-old Shih Tzu pup, I know must give her lots of joy. And there, back again. So thank you, Miss SJ. We love them. That inspires us. Thank you, thank you. And now, drum roll, please. Miss Polly's been a busy gal, and I wanted to say this is a picture from the class. It's not her quilt, but isn't that wonderful to teach collage? It shows how much fun you can have. Now this, I wrote it down. Let me find it. I wrote down what she was doing. I think it was called pastiche. Pastiche. It's English paper piecing. Where is my oh boy. I don't know where my instructions for today went. I somehow took it. Here we go. It's called La Pasa. I should have practiced this first. It is La Pascagoula English paper piecing. Isn't that amazing? Hand sewn. Look at that English paper piecing. Absolutely beautiful. Way to go, Miss Polly. And look at this one. I remember her using this fabric in a quilt she made for her dining room, and that is gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful. And here are some mug rugs that she wove. Now, it wasn't that long ago that she got that loom, and already look at what she is doing. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And then look at this one. So talented. And this one is going to be a table runner, I think, for her dining room. And she said only 5.5 more feet of it to go. Isn't that great? So I can't wait. I better hurry up and clean this room so we can have her over to do a little tutorial on how in the world she does this. Looks very complicated to me. Isn't that wonderful? Beautiful work. So now you see why I get so impressed with you, all of you, that the talent that you show us is amazing. Let me turn the light on. Okay. It's definitely dark and rainy outside. All right, I'll bring this back around, come back and find you, make sure I don't touch anything wrong. Okay, yay. Isn't that amazing? Hi, Lisa. I'm so glad you were here, Lisa, to see your pictures. Oh, look at what she said to Melton. You guys make me so happy and proud of humans. And because, sometimes lately it gets a little disheartening, but then I come here and y'all are the best. Oh, I got to tilt this down. Okay. And y'all are the best. And you make me so happy. I finish these shows just on air. So just light as air. And that is wonderful. Okay. So now I guess what we're going to do, and last La Caglia, I should have looked that one up, but boy, it's just as fancy sounding as it really is a beautiful work. But anyway, I'm just blown away by the things that you share with me. And let me check one little thing real quick. And mm, oh, you know what? They're not even here yet. No, I was hoping I had some more pictures, but they haven't even come in yet. We won't worry about that. Okay. If they're good, I will show them next week. Okay. So now I will show you. We're working on lot 14. And I'm going to show you a couple things and then show you a couple things about block 15 too. All right. So here are the instructions. Now, I want to show you about how to do this block. When you look at all of these pieces, it wanted the program I designed it on wanted you to cut out, I don't know if that's not really a rhombus, parallelogram, I think. It wanted you to cut out that. Let me bring it up right here. I work hard when I write my instructions to make this as easy for you as I can make it. And if you are a more professional or experienced quilter, then you can do it whatever way you want. But I do it for all different levels. And in a way, I try to make it easy to understand. Now, it looks like I might have made these just looking at the directions. I might have made these blocks a little big. I made these blocks all the same size for all of this. So let's see how it goes together. But I made them 2 1/8, and maybe they could have been less than 2 inches. Let me see. All right. So then what's going to happen next with this is you're going to have a piece like this put on. And then when you put these pieces, you'll have the extra little. Okay. Let me go back and just start this again. Oh, for the corner blocks, you have to make half square triangles. So here were the half square triangles. Then I cut this block. I cut a square, one of the 2 1/8 inch squares, and I creased it. And then I laid it on this light corner. I stitched just inside the crease line because when you fold this over, it takes a thread width away from the block. So when I sew this, instead of sewing right on the crease, I sew just one thread that way because that's the way it's going to fold. So that's how easy it was to make a corner block instead of trying to cut a parallelogram and all of that. So that, and I didn't want you dealing with little tiny triangles that would be a biased edge. Okay. So now we have our center block and we have, and I wish now I had, and I've already cut that off. But I didn't leave enough of just this. But, oh, wait a minute. When I sew the next piece, guess what? It's going to give you that put. Okay, never mind. I might not have made a mistake. All right, so here is your center block. Now, I've got these little short blocks all done right here. Now what I'm doing, we have to do what's called mirror imaging. Oh, it's raining in a lot of people's places. All right. We've needed it, especially with the smoke in the air. The sky always has a slightly pink look to it. All right. So we have to do what's called mirror imaging with these green pieces here so that you know these have to go at a different slant than this. You see this? So if you were to put them together, you've got a triangle. So I always, because it's easy for me to mess things up, I always lay them in two separate piles. This is the left-hand pile. This is the right-hand pile. Now, I've sewn all of these white squares. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them up like this. Because, and why do I do that? Because I am copying this section right here, and do you see the angle to the background? Now I'm going to put the blue sections right here. Okay, so I've got two piles. Now I'm working on putting the blue sections right down here, and if I have them in the exact order of where I'm looking, I'm less likely to make a mistake, because what we're doing is we're working on these right there. All right. So now I evidently already sewed this one before I finished getting ready. Let's see. That one would go here. And I did it correctly. See that? So to me, it was easier to start with a full rectangle and put blocks on the corners than to try to make some really odd shape. Now I'm going to bring my iron over, because when you work on these, it is important to try to press each step. And I'm going to show you why. Because you try to place these corner blocks, you try to place them correctly. You hope you do a good job. Okay, I'm waiting for the iron to heat up. All right, but what I do, because some of these blocks were really a little bigger than they needed to be, so when I fold that block over, I make sure that it's even all around the edge. And then once I feel like it's where it should be, then I cut off the excess. And I made sure that I, number one, sewed it on correctly. And number two, oops, got to bring my trash can back to the other side or I'll be throwing trash on the floor. All right, I'm going to come back over. Now, I starched all of this first because it really makes it easier to have accurate piecing if you starch first. So here we go. This is now what that piece is supposed to look like. And it goes right back over here. So I'm going to, since I did that one, I'm going to keep going and make all of these on this side before I start these on this side. And if you don't have to do all these little tricks to make sure that you do it right, then that's fine too. But for me, this helps. It really helps. And you just have to remember that these are pretty much all going in the same direction on that. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And I like to string piece, these, because when you put this square on, it's real easy for that tip to want to be dragged down in the machine. So, and what I mean by the same direction, see how this goes this way? Then this one gets sewn so it goes that way. See? And that's what makes it a parallelogram. See? All right. And you just have to make sure that's what you're doing, because otherwise you've just messed up the fabric. So you can take it out until you cut it off. When you cut it off, you have to live with that. All right. And I make sure that I line up this edge. If the piece is a little big, let it hang over this way. But I want this edge to be in the right place. And I go one thread on that side of the crease so that it gives one thread more to fold this over. Okay. Just look at that. Be looking at where that corner is, where the corner is that you're headed towards. Okay, so here we go. And I know that I want this to be the same direction as this. And I run any excess fabric along this way so it's not in the way. I can trim it right off. Then one thread less than the amount, one thread less than the crease. Okay, now I'm going to take these real quickly, press them, and then let's see how we did. We can always adjust it. You can adjust it until you cut it off. All right. Okay, here we are. All right. And then what I like to do here when they're all folded over, because see, I managed to cut those squares a little big, but as long as they were lined up when you sew them, then now it's trimmed nice and clean. Then I can cut the two little pieces off. But I never cut these triangles off until I've made sure I have enough to go all the way down, that this is sewn correctly. I trim off anything, like if it hung this way over. Now, if it hung too much down that other end, I would worry that I sewed the block on incorrectly. So I might take it back off and redo it. I don't know why, but I save all my little triangles. I think one day I always think I'm going to just sew them into something. I don't know what. Okay, so now trim off this back triangle. All right. So these are completely done. Now I'm just going to quickly sew the squares on this one. Okay. Now I know that the angle has to be the exact same way. And I'm going to line the fabric up with this side, let any excess go off this side, because I want to make sure that one side is perfect. I'm going to sew one thread that way so that it has plenty of room to flip over. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and do them all through at once. And don't worry if you have to stop and check it and remind yourself one more time. Please do not worry. That time is time well spent. When you're dealing with small pieces of fabric like this, when you have to take those apart, it can really mess up the fabric. It just wants to shred. So take the time, whatever time you need to try to get it right the first time. It will make your life so much easier. I used to try to sew so fast, and I spent a whole lot of time trying to fix things. All right, so these all four are sewn. I'll press them, and then we'll see how they look. Then that's the last part that I had to do. So now we can put the blocks together. All right, I'm going to go press them to the dark. Well, actually, no, I'm not pressing. I'm kind of pressing to the dark because both of them are pretty similar. But sometimes you have to look. That's a good thing to talk about. Sometimes you have to look and say, well, if I press to the dark, then that's the side that has a lot of seams, and the fabric is going to complain. It's not going to want to. Interesting. Okay, remember how these two can make a triangle? These can't. And I look back at my directions and I'm doing them correctly. It scared me for a minute there. All right, this is a little too long because that blue shows past the green. The green is the measurement we want. So I trim that excess off. Here we go. All right. But nope, that's the right way. Sometimes some of these blocks will kind of trick you just a little bit, make you do a double take, and that's okay. All right. And since these are small, I'll leave an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. You can leave more if you want. It's just they're so small. If I leave too thick of a seam allowance, it'll be bulky. The bigger the fabric, the bigger a seam allowance you can afford to leave, because the fabric can handle it. But when you're doing miniature work, just shorten your stitch length and leave less of a seam allowance, and it'll lay flatter. Okay. Oops, I forgot to trim off the extras. And one more. It's a good time to trim off any excess threads too that'll get in the way. This just needs a tiny little bit of that front layer trimmed off. Trim this off. Whoops. Okay. So here we are. Now we have everything we need. I like to keep this picture close by. I'm a very visual person, so that will help. And when I put these together, I'm going to do them by rows. So this is row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay. So now row 1, I need one of these. And I need to turn it. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. Actually, I need to sew these into blocks first. So this is going to go this way. And sew this together. I totally forgot to make that middle block. The reason I like making them up into blocks first, there's less room for error if you go ahead and make them all up into blocks. Because the more pieces you have, the more chance for a problem. Now, this is a good place to talk about where to iron it to. I always like to iron it to the dark. See how this has an extra seam that this doesn't have? We definitely put the seam that way. If you try to fight too many of these seams, it will not allow your block to lay flat. Uh-oh, Marcia needs Pepsi. Hi, Robin. Oh, I'm glad you fell asleep. There's nothing like an afternoon nap. Okay, so now I've already got this left one. Now I need a right one on this. So now we'll just come over and put these together and stitch this on. And if you're at all worried, just shorten your stitch length and it should do very well. Now, I'm curious what size these blocks are going to come out to. Now, this is really odd. Look how different this is. But you know what? I got things to do, places to go, and people to see. All right, let me real quickly get a little cutting mat. Oh, I did find my 4.5 fussy cut thing, but oops, I forgot about it being in there. Too late now. I'm all done with cutting fussy cut blocks. All right. So this I can see already is too wide. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to trim this up. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, since I know it's too wide, I'm going to give myself a nice clean edge here. And then line this up. Hold on. Line this up this way. Okay. And we want this to be 4.5. I want to make sure I don't cut more off on this. I'm going to kind of cut this a little bit here. I don't want to cut one side off too much more than the other side. So there we go. So now that's 1.5. Then I want this. Yep. So each of these wings will be 1.5. Okay. So now I just cut off just a little bit here. Whoops, come on. Normally I would use my shape cut ruler by June Taylor. It has all the slots in it. But I want to do this here where you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Now we have a 4.5-inch block. All right. So I'm going to take this. I've got this to sew it to. That corner, that left corner block. Okay. I'm a little concerned if everything's going to line up. No, it didn't. It didn't here either. Well, that's close enough. This one worries me. So what I might do a little later is come back and fix that. And right now I'm going to leave it, but I was worried about that because there's a lot of seams that line up. Now, these are supposed to be taller than this. This is a tricky block. This is an expert level block. So don't be upset if it's not quite there. This is very, very tricky. Let me put this together, see where we go with this. And, you know, it might have helped. These blocks might have been a little bit bigger than 4.5. Let me see. No, they are 4.5. All right. This is much better. This one meets much better. So I will tweak that other block later. But here, so let me show you. There it is. But I will come back and I will fix this. What I've got to do is put another square on this corner and make it come up a little higher. I don't know why this one's so big. This one's too big, but I've already trimmed it off. So, but anyway, so here is row 1. Then row 2 would be putting this in the middle. Oh, and let me show you. I want to show you how that when you stitch these together, that's when you now get that gap there. Because see how I was worried that these came together in the middle and didn't give that background gap? Well, it will. Once you sew it on, you'll get that gap right there. So, all right. So to continue with this, is I've got to finish the other components. And what I'd like to do now is go to block 15 and show you what may be a little bit tricky for you on those. So I've cut out all my pieces here. All right. With this block 15, this is a lot easier, I think, personally. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, except these are quarter square triangle blocks and this block. You might not have had that before. So let's try this. Here's your fussy cut center. You don't have to do anything to that. It's ready. Now, then I've got these rectangles and these triangles. What I've done is I have cut squares, background squares, and then diagonally cut them. Then I've made these strips, these rectangles, to make this corner block. So let's see how that's going to come together. And you just put a long edge of the triangle along this edge. And what I normally like to do right here is I will give a little press. In fact, I think it says it in the instructions. Press all of your rectangles in half, like that, to get that mark made. Then come in here and press your triangles perfectly in half. Okay, making sure your edges meet, making sure this point is folded perfectly in half, okay? And come press that. Now, the reason you press both of these is so that you'll know where to place it when you're stitching, all right? So, you'll come in here and put the two creases, nest them right together. Now you come over and you sew your 1/4 of an inch. And that way you know they're right where they are supposed to be. Okay, then I'm going to pull this out and go press to the dark. If I carry it over with the dark on top, then it's real easy to press to the dark. And you have to be very careful with these blocks that have white or off-white backgrounds. Melanie, hi, sweetheart. So you have to be very careful because honestly, that red will show through, and that would really be a blight on your quilt because you will notice it. So try your best when you have a very pale background in a dark, rich color like a dark blue, dark green, dark red. Make sure. Oh boy, it's really raining outside. Polly, are you getting this rain? This is something. Okay, I can still see where that crease is. So I'm going to put these two together. Now I'm going to stitch it down again. And then I will trim this up to 4.5 inches. Whoops. Well, let me try it again. It tried to bring the fabric down into the needle hole. Okay, there we go. I'm going to try to repair my newest Juki. I ordered a bobbin case, and I'm going to start with a new bobbin case and see if I can get it working better because nobody seems to be able to fix it. All right, so here I go. Now, I know this is a thin little piece, but both of these have to be pressed to the dark. Don't worry, just press them to the dark because they would definitely show. All right, so now here is my block. There's that corner block. That wasn't that hard at all. Now I have to make sure to trim it to 4.5, and it just is 4.5. Now, one thing that worries me, I thought I had cut these longer, but that really should come out to where I could trim it up. I think it's going to be within 1/4 of an inch, but it's too close. So I'll tell you what we do. when you get your instructions, I will go on site and correct this. But what I want you to do is to cut 1.5 inch by 6 inches. So if you've already printed out your instructions, change that to 6 inches. That way it would come out long enough, or you can even make it 6.5. I think I might even say 6.5, because you can trim off that little bit extra. But this is where not having made it can get tricky. So that way it would give you a perfect corner, because I thought these would end up coming too big, but they are just 4.5 inches. Okay. And then that way, if this is 6.5 inches, it'll come out like this, and you can just trim the excess off, have a nice square corner. Now let me see, since I already cut this, I want to see how it will work. Okay, so the next block we're going to practice and make. So 6.5, not 5.5. The next block, we're going to take our 5.5 inch blocks. We have 2 different colors of, medium to medium dark, and then our 5.5 inch background. The reason we're making such a big block, even though our blocks are going to finish to 4.5, is every time you make it into a half square triangle and then a 1/4 inch triangle, you lose seam allowances every time you sew. Now I'm going to take this over here, and I'm going to press a diagonal line. Okay, so now I've pressed the diagonal lines. The first thing I'm going to do is take one of these and place one of the medium dark colors to it. Okay, then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to sew a scant 1/4 inch down each side of the crease. We don't sew on the crease, and we sew one on each side of that crease, scant 1/4 inch. Okay. All right, scant 1/4 inch down each side. And if you don't trust creasing it, then feel free to draw a diagonal line. Now, what I'm going to do now is take one of the other medium darks and go ahead and stitch it to one of the backgrounds, okay? Because this is how we're going to make a 1/4 square triangle. All right, so sew this the same way we did the other medium dark. A scant 1/4 inch down either side of the diagonal line. Okay. Now these are both done. So what I'm going to do, I use longer scissors for this, because what I'm going to do is come here. I'm going to turn them over so I can see the thread easier on the darker color. And I'm just going to clip a little clip out of that corner to get rid of the dog ears, and then cut straight up in between the 2 lines of stitching. Carefully too, because you don't want to cut the lines of stitching and you don't want to get too close. Then I take these and iron to the dark. The darker of the 2. Okay. So here are those. And that's the nice thing, is every time you sew these together, you get 2 from it. So now I'm going to trim this one. And I like using longer scissors when I have to cut a longer seam. allowance because it just makes it's much smoother than trying to use little snips and open and closing them so often. So this gives a nice smooth cut. Okay. And press these to the dark. Okay. Now these are pressed to the dark. All right. So now what you do, you're going to make a quarter square triangle. By the picture, you can see you have two pieces of background fabric. Then you have a darker and a lighter of the medium darks. Okay. So what you're going to do now is you want to have the block look just like this. See, it's like an hourglass. See how the greens are an hourglass? Then the background's an hourglass. So this shows you that what you have to do is put these together with the darker fabric on each opposite side. Okay. And you nestle those seams. You can kind of feel when they butt up against each other. Okay. Because when the way you've sewn them and pushed them over, there's a little lip right there. So you nuzzle these against each other. Now, then I'm going to fold these together, having these corners match like that. I'm going to press it to give me a line on which to sew on either side. Okay, so see how I've done this? Now I'm going to stitch a scant quarter inch on each side of this crease. And making sure you see how the crease goes right into the corner and right into the corner. Okay. So this is how easy quarter square triangles. And Lisa and I have had lots of experience because we made hundreds of these for a class we took at Myrtle Beach. So we know how to make these. If we had any doubt, they were erased when we made a couple hundred of them. All right. So now I'm just coming along my last couple inches of sewing. Here we go. Gotta clean out my machine. My thread cutter's not working as good. Okay, so I take my longer scissor. I trim a little wedge here like that to get rid of the dog ears. Because I don't like trimming off every single block. I'd rather do it when I'm cutting the line. All right, dog ear's gone. Now, here we go. There we are. And I'm going to press to the darkest. So I'm going to push the seam allowance that way. Come in here really quickly. Press this. While I'm there, I'll go ahead and do this one so I just know it's done. Pressing to the darkest of the medium darks. Okay, so now the next thing you do is one more step, and that is to measure these up, make sure they are 4.5 inches. Now, the best thing to do for that is to have a ruler. This is a little too small, but use a ruler that has a 45-degree line on it. See the line right there? That's a 45-degree line. If I had a 6.5-inch ruler, it'd be perfect. You have a diagonal line that goes down here, and then you can take your rotary cutter and you can trim it up. Now, I can tell this one is 4 3/4. It just needs a little bit nibbed off. I can see that these are perfectly matched corners. The fabrics come right to the edge. Notice on this side, see how there's a little white left on that side of the fabric? So that's the first one I'm going to trim up because on both ends, it's got a little too much of the background. So now I'm going to come in here And I'm going to trim that off. And when I do, I should have pretty close to a perfect 4.5 inches. I only have just a touch of this. You can see where the white fabric kind of bows out a little. When I say the white, I mean the background. So I'm going to come in here, put it on the line here, line it up along the line at the bottom. Oops, hold on. Don't go anywhere. All right, then I'm going to carefully lay this on the 1/4 inch mark. Make sure it's lined up really well. Measure twice, cut once, because if you cut it too short, that's it. All right, whoops, and I saw my ruler slightly turn. It slipped right at the very end. There. Okay. So I know this way now it's perfect 4.5 inches. Now I'm going to turn it this way. And it's just a little bit over 4.5 inches. I can see, but on both sides. In fact, this one is the most off. So I'm going to trim this side first. And I'm going to trim it back. Let me see. If I put this to the edge, yep, I can trim most of that right off. All right, there, that's good. Now I'm going to come line it up here on the line it along that line, and I have just a little bit to nibble off this side. It's where the block is not fully straight. So put it on the half line and just nibble off that little bit right there. Now I have a perfect 4.5 inch quarter square triangle. And I don't know why they call them quarter square triangle and half. I mean, you've got 4 different pieces of fabric. So that's what the quarter is about. All right. So I've shown you how to do the corner blocks, and you're going to cut your dark piece a little longer. And then I would come here and I would stitch these together. Now, what I wanted to see is if I pin this together, how does this look? It's still just a wee bit short. All right. So how would I fix that? Because you know Deb's not going to do the whole thing over again. So how would she fix that? We'll start calling it, how would Deb do it? I'm going to do is to take a piece of fabric. I've got a thin little scrap here, and I'm going to nip this scrap because this is barely going to show. Then I'm going to come in here and stitch right across this corner, and I'm going to make I'm going to make the stitch length very short because, oops, hold on. Hopefully, I think that something got hung up just a touch when that I was trying to cut the thread. Let me see if it'll show now. Nope. Okay. It wants me to get my bobbin unhooked, and I think my bobbin case. Oh, yeah. The thread did get a little hooked up. Let me see if I can gently ease it out so I don't have to take off. Yeah, there we go. It just got hung up when I was trying to cut the threads. The thread cutter, especially if your machine gets a little linty, the thread cutters will have a hard time working. So I eased it out, which means I didn't make the tangle worse. I just gently eased it out because I do want to show you how this is going to work. Most mistakes, boo-boos, there are, for the most part, very easy fixes. It's not the end of the world. So I'm going to lay this dark fabric across the end there and come over here. And with my stitches, very small, I'm going to come here and stitch across. Okay. now I'm going to take and press it. Then trim off the excess right here. Okay, so now I've got a longer piece right there. And then I'm going to come like this. And then this one, the dark, goes right here. Let's see if this does the trick. Put the edges together, scant 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And I know one thing, I'm going to trim off the excess of this patch piece. Let's see how it did. Did it work? Yes, it did. There we go. So it's that easy when you get a boo-boo, like I can handle that. Instead of having to make all the blocks over again, just put in that little patch. And then by the time it's sewn in again, you really can't even see it. So there we are. All right, guys. So this, now you know how to make this block and to patch this up here. I didn't even tell you, it's not even quite the same fabric, but by the time it's sewn in, nobody will see it. And so this, I would just do a little patch across that corner. But if you haven't cut these out yet, cut them 6.5 inches. Okay. But that's, this block is going to, you'll have another corner piece here. This is going to be my fussy cut center, which will go right under here. And so I think that's going to be a lovely block too. Okay. Next week, I'll show you both of these already completed. But now you know why you have to start with such a big block. And then the next, and if you're not sure how to place them, just fold one of them in half and go, ah, that's right. So put the 2 greens opposite each other, nestle the seams, diagonal line, cut scant 1/4 inch on any side. Oh, yeah, I think Mary needs to wake up, huh? Oh, you're so cute. You are precious. Well, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. I had a lot of fun with you. I'm hoping maybe, why did I turn off that light? I hope that you might have learned a little thing or two, or were maybe reminded of a thing or two. And have a great week. I will put this flower on our website. If you're not a member yet of our website, you can always write to me at that OurTimeToQuilt at twc.com, and I will invite you. Or if you just want a pattern of the flower, just send me an email at OurTimeToQuilt at twc.com. I will shoot it right out to you. I think it's going to be fun. And we're going to be doing, and you saw that I was drawing on a piece of fusible so that these little pieces can be fused down, because I'm not going to try to sew them down by hand. That's for sure. Well, thank you for joining me today. And boy, is it raining outside. It needed it. I was going to have to go out and water some plants, but not now. Me and my little dollhouse are going to go take it easy. Well, I'm first going to make a change in that pattern to 6.5 inches. But now I can't wait to get the next one in. I'm going to be addicted. I can tell. I'll have to wait till Christmas for the next one up. All right, everybody. Take good care of yourselves. Do something just for you this week. Because, you know, we have to take care of ourselves first before we can take care of others. So, yeah, make a house, glue all the rooms together, huh? I love it. And sometimes at night, you know, I'll set it over on the cabinet in the corner of the room and have the light on. And it's just that little place of magic. And I still believe in magic. I still believe in Santa. So take good care of yourself. Have a good week. Yes, everyone go and do something nice just for you. Y'all are the best. Thank you for spending this time with me. See you Thursday. Bye-bye, everybody. You're the best. Thank you.